Hello, and this is the MMA India Show, and I'm Parvin Dabas, and welcome to another episode. We have an amazing episode for you today. We have a post-fight review of UFC Kansas City with me, Akhilesh Gannavarapu, and MMA journalist from Canada, James Lynch. It was a pleasure having him on the show, and you will be seeing the post-fight review first, and then we have two very big Indian MMA stars facing off with each other. They're going to be fighting on the Brave-5 card, which is happening April 23rd in Mumbai, India. And there's a lot of history behind them. Apparently, Abdul Muneer was chosen as the best Indian fighter by a website, and Gurdharshan Saint Lion Mangat took offense to that because he considers himself the best Indian MMA fighter in the world, in those weight categories at least, and therefore a rivalry was born, and it is really heating up now with accusations of steroids and citizenship and training partners and all that kind of stuff flying between them. So you will see that we arranged for them to come face to face on Skype at least, and you will be seeing that conversation, for lack of a better polite term, after the post-fight review. Enjoy the episode. And this is our 50th episode. So I want to thank everybody who has been following us and watching our videos and engaging with us. Thank you so much for helping us reach our 50th episode. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, and check out our website, www.mmaindia.com. Here's hoping to see you guys on the 100th episode very soon. Take care. Okay, so we are here. This is Parvin Dabas, Akhilesh Gannavarapu, and we have a special guest, James Lynch, Twitter Lynch on Sports, an international MMA journalist. And thank you so much, James, for being on the show.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm a fan of the show, so it's an honor to be here.
Thanks so much. And this is our 50th episode. So hurrah, hurrah to us. And it's a special episode. So thank you once again for being on it. And let's get the show started. UFC, on Fox 24, Kansas City. Let's start, because we interviewed Aljamain, before the fight. Let's get started with him. And he had a very impressive performance this time. He seemed focused. Though I want to say, rather than just go into a dissection of the fight itself, I just want to say I still feel that he has a lot more to offer. Sometimes, and with all due respect to him, I know we say these things sometimes, and we have, full respect for the fighters when we say this. But I still feel that there's a lot more he can give. And this was a comeback fight for him, of course, in one way, because he was coming off of two, very hard to stomach losses, for lack of a better word, because they were split decisions. And there were fights which could have gone either way. And we spoke about those fights, of course, on the preview. But he did make a comeback. He seemed focused. And, but having said that, I still felt when I'm watching him that there's so much more potential still than he displayed in this fight. There's a couple of times there I felt he could have finished, Mendes, but I felt he was being smart, which is, fair enough. Now, apart from that, I just want to say I'm such a big fan of Matt Serra and him, the way he shouts out to his fighters, especially in this, you cannot not hear him, no matter how loud the crowd is. You cannot not hear him, and he was so precise in everything he was telling Sterling, because, of course, he's an ex-champ and he's such a, a brilliant guy to go to for the ground game. So, so why don't you guys chip in? That's what I had to say so far. James, what do you want to say about the
I mean, it was a very big win for Aljamain Sterling. Yeah. Sorry, I was just going to say, it was a big win for Aljamain. First off, he's fighting a really tough opponent in Augusto Mendez, fighter out of the MMA lab. I mean, this was a risky fight for him, coming off 2 straight losses, and to go in there and get a dominant performance like he did, I think that really speaks volumes to where he fits in the division. This is a guy who was outspoken on fighter pay. It almost seemed like the UFC was kind of setting him up for another loss here, and to come through the way he did, I think was very impressive, and kind of reminds people that hey, he's sticking around in the bantamweight division. You mentioned the fact that we still haven't seen the best Aljamain Sterling. I agree with that. 27 years old. Here's a guy who again just isn't really living up to his potential. But I think this fight, a step in the right direction. It's so easy to look at wins and losses, but let's not forget those 2 losses were to Brian Caraway, were to Rafael Assunção. So we got to kind of look at the context of things, and I think this is a step in the right direction. And again, I would hope the UFC is going to market him a little bit better. I was surprised that he wasn't on UFC 205. He wasn't kind of getting a good push, because I think he's a guy in the bantamweight division they can market and they can push as far as the division goes, because they don't really have a lot of up and comers.
I fully agree with you. He does seem like such a marketable, because he's out there. He's a brash, outgoing kind of guy. With a nickname like Funk Master, and and the necklaces. So he's a cool guy, and you want to like him, and you want to have him win against the top competition. And like you said, of course the losses were to Brian Caraway and Ralph Assunção, but he needs to start winning those if he wants to fight for the title, which we feel he definitely has the potential for. When you see him fight, this guy is really good and he can fight for the title. Akhilesh? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and so just talking about the fight itself, yes, he has so much potential, he has so much more to give, but I was very impressed with just how he started. Ray Longo kind of dwelled on what Mendez is good at and how Sterling needs to keep his distance. Just the fact that he had a more wider stance, he was not committing himself to go forward. He was just standing, keeping his distance, and then throwing those big volumes. So I was very impressed with how Sterling started. And the other thing that we need to remember is Mendez is a world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So he is one guy that is so very good in transitions. So, we saw in the first round, as I said, Matt Serra, when, Sterling was in, Mendez's guard, you could hear Matt Serra saying, hey, you're doing very well. Do not commit yourself. Do not go forward. Just stick to the guard. Just keep working on his body with body shots. So just the amount of knowledge that Matt Serra and Ray Longo passed on to Sterling for this fight, because it was so obvious that they did so much extensive research on Augusto Mendez. That was very impressive. And yes, I have to admit that Sterling is, he's a former NCAA Division III All-American, so he has excellent wrestling pedigree. And I just want is going into the fight, as you said, we kind of did an interview, and he said, Mendez, or if it was Assunção or whoever it was, they kind of said, I cannot take punches or I cannot throw punches, and this is what I'm going to make a point going into this fight. So I was, impressed with how he performed. But yes, he has as James said, is very young, is in a division that is kind of going through a transformation at this point. You have Cody Garbrandt, TJ Dillashaw, and Assunção now in the top 3, and you have the Dominic Cruzes kind of phasing out. Uriah Faber has retired, so it's going through an interesting transition period. And people like Aljamain Sterling, people like Augusto Mendez, people like Almeida, they are the ones that are stepping up, going to the top of the pile. So a very good performance, but yes, he still has a lot to give.
Cool. So moving on to the next, Michelle Waterson versus Rose Namajunas. Now, this was such a tough fight to call. A lot of people, I think, had their money on Michelle because she was coming off of the win over Paige Van Sant, whereas Rose was coming off the loss to Carolina. But she just reminded everybody how good she really is. I do think going forward she should fight the winner of Claudia and Carolina. I think Carolina and Claudia are fighting now, right? Because there was talk about her being her fighting for the title now after Joanna and Jessica have fought. But I do think that there is another fight to be made there between Rose and the winner of Carolina, Claudia, because Rose just lost to Carolina. So I think personally that fight should be made before Rose goes and fights for the title. That's just my personal view.
Yes, I think that does kind of make sense, but at the same time, if Claudia or Carolina beats Rose, then you're getting another fight potentially with Joanna, and I think that's kind of soon for both fighters. You have to remember Claudia fought Joanna last year, as did Carolina, so maybe they do want to give Rose that shot, just out of a matter of having variety for a title shot. Rose, a lot of people felt like maybe she was rushed right off the Ultimate Fighter when she fought Carla Esparza, and obviously came up short in that fight. We have to remember too, Rose is only 24 years old. So in that sense, I do kind of agree with you that do we want to rush her to a title shot right away? You don't have to go and sort of give her that, but I think the performance she had against Michelle Waterson is warranted of a title shot. You mentioned a lot of people picking Michelle Waterson. I think this just proves MMA math does not work. People were basing it off the fact that Michelle Waterson finished Paige Van Zandt in the first round, whereas Rose, it took her a bit longer to finish Paige. So I think it just shows that the leaps and bounds that Rose has made from fight to fight. I mean, she lost that close fight with Karolina Kowalkiewicz, and she comes out here and she finishes Michelle Waterson. Not only that, but just dominated her from bell to bell. Really great performance for Rose. I don't know what you do, because really I think Rose could take another fight, or they could give her the title shot, because her stock has not been higher. And I think one of the big things with Rose is, can she perform well in big fights? And I think this was a big fight for her, and for her to go out there and get the performance she did really shows that she is a contender in the strawweight division.
Right. Just
Akhilesh?
to start off, I think this fight is a vindication of sorts for Rose Namajunas. And during the preview, I said I bank on Rose. I bank on her picking up the victory, just because of the fact that we discussed how she wasn't the same with Carolina, because Rose thrives on putting pressure on her opponents. She's a volume puncher. She's very aggressive. She keeps going forward. She's very good using her transitions to get the back, secure the mount, whatever it is, and finishing them off with submission. So that is Rose's game plan. But she did not execute that with Carolina, probably because Carolina was so good in the clinches, in countering the pressure. Whenever Rose tried pushing forward, Carolina would turn her around and push her against the cage and put her in different predicaments than what Rose is normally used to. But going with this fight, I said, if Rose, performs as well as she can, this is her fight to lose. So I was very impressed with Rose personally, because from bell to bell, as James said, it was Rose that kept on pushing the pressure. You saw the first round where it was Michelle Waterson that took Rose to the ground, which was a very bad move, because immediately you saw Rose Namajunas using a left leg to kind of turn the predicament and try to secure Michelle Waterson's back, and then she got into Michelle's guard and started working from the top position. So because just based on the fact that Rose is an excellent grappler and thrives when she puts on the pressure, that was exactly what Rose did. She followed a game plan. She was able to execute her grappling expertise, trying to push Michelle Waterson against the cage, taking her to the ground, and essentially she was at home, in the first round. In the second round, you kind of saw the head kick coming, because Michelle Waterson had this wide side stance, which kind of leaves you open to the head kicks. And Rose kind of found that opening, connected to the head kick, went for the kill, then got the victory. So it was a very good performance by Rose Namajunas. Now, what is next for Rose? As to that question, I don't know. Are you gonna put Rose against the winner of Karolina Kowalkiewicz and Claudia Gadelha? Because either one of them would be a very difficult matchup for Rose Namajunas. We saw what happened with Carolina, but Claudia again thrives on pressure. She is an excellent wrestler. At least for the first two rounds, she is the one that's the aggressor. She keeps pushing her opponents against the fence, takes them to the ground and works on them. We saw what happened with Joanna. It was for the first 2 or 3 rounds at least. It was Claudia that had the upper hand. So she's a pressure fighter. She kind of counters Rose in certain departments. Would Rose be okay, or would that be a good matchup for Rose Namajunas? I don't know. If I was the matchmaker, if I was Sean Shelby, I would kind of utilize where Rose is at the moment, kind of utilize her stock at the moment, and put her in the title picture, maybe against the winner of Joanna and Andrade. If I was Rose Namajunas, I would actually probability to get the win over someone like Jessica Andrade or someone like Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Just, again, she has been exceptional against strikers, except for Carolina. Rose has been exceptional against strikers. Against wrestlers, not so much. We saw what happened with Carla Esparza. So if I was, Rose Namajunas, I would actually give myself a good chance going into fight against someone like Joanna or Jessica Andrade.
And I want to, I agree with James when he said, they should give it to her just for some variety. Because, Claudia, Carolina, they've already had their chance, so to speak. And Rose is somebody who hasn't fought for the title. And that is, it may not be the best reason, but it is a reason because, the champ needs different people also. She has been going through the competition. Now, even if you look at, and we will get to that, of course, Demetrius, he fought with Dodson a couple of times. Now, though we may consider Dodson, one of the best, but you still need to start giving him these other people because he's going through the division. Same way here, for lack of a better term, you have to feed the champ, other people rather than, like the Carolinas and the Claudias all the time, even though those were the closest fights.
Yes. I agree. You have to get some, because the problem is then you're getting fans restless unless it was a close fight. The first time between I don't think anyone wants to see another Claudia Gadelha Joanna fight at least this soon. Nobody wants to see the rematch between Carolina and Joanna this soon. So I think the other thing we got to remember here, Andrade has a very good chance, I think, of defeating Joanna as well. So that could add a bit more to that division as well. But again, I think that Rose, going in there, even though she is pretty young, it still sort of opens things up a little bit as far as that division goes. And then you can have other fighters sort of coming in there and making their case as well, as far as, title shots and everything. So I think, having Rose, potentially fight for the title, if you look at Rose's style, she's probably one of the most dynamic fighters in that division. So it does pose a pretty interesting matchup for Joanna or Jessica Andrade. So I'm a fan of it at this point. And again, I think it would add a bit more excitement to a division that is basically just seen Joanna fight, Claudia and Carolina and, sort of the same people time and time again.
Now moving on to Ronaldo Jacare Souza versus Robert Whittaker. Now, this was actually my favorite fight of the night. The reason being because of its simplicity in a way. It was very pure in a way, as in, anybody could know what's going on. Jacare, of course, in the first round got him down and, tried to keep him there. Robert got out. Robert was maintaining his distance. He was timing his punches really good. Jacare, of course, wasn't able to get the takedowns then. Robert was stuffing him pretty well. And then Jacare had to stay standing up for some time. And Robert is so good on his feet. We saw it the same, he did the same thing, of course, with Derek Brunson. And he's just on this roll. And now, of course, Luke Rockhold has called him out. And that would be a really interesting fight, though Robert has said before he takes a decision on that, he wants to still enjoy this victory. It's a little too soon. And, of course, we agree with him. He wants to, take it in. He's just beat Jacare Souza, who was on the cusp of a title shot. He was on the cusp of a title shot. And because of this uncertainty in the middleweight division, he was taking on these other fights, to keep himself going, so to speak. And, of course, the good thing in this for Jacare is that he signed his 8-fight contract, just before this fight. Yeah. So that's, a positive for him, to take out. James?
Yeah, I mean, obviously some security there for Jacare going forward. I think the 8-fight deal was more so that Jacare would not go to Bellator, where he has a relationship with Scott Coker dating back to the Strikeforce days. So smart on the UFC's part for locking this guy up, because even though he lost his fight, he is still one of the top fighters in that middleweight division. And can I just talk about the fact that Robert Whittaker once again was an underdog in this fight? I forget, my good friend Adam Martin posted a stat on Twitter. Robert Whittaker has been an underdog in the majority of his fights heading into these matchups, and I think people are finally starting to buy in. I actually picked Robert Whittaker in this fight, and the fight kind of played out how I thought it would, which was that if Whittaker could survive the first round and avoid the takedown, this would be his fight to win, because it just felt like his stand-up was so much better. You look at the age discrepancy here. Robert Whittaker, 26 years old. Jacare, 37 years old. Jacare's slowing down. I mean, it's just age does catch up to you, and I think Whittaker's stand-up is at a point now where he's dangerous for anyone that's trying to go toe-to-toe with him. And you could see in that second round, it was only a matter of time before Robert Whittaker would be able to knock out Jacare. And let's not forget either, look how many fights Jacare has in his career. That's only his third loss by knockout, and actually his first loss by knockout was in his very first fight. So just goes to show how durable Jacare is and how big of a win this is for Robert Whittaker. And I think this is great for the UFC, because they've been trying to get a star out of Australia for quite some time, and I think Robert Whittaker is the answer. Maybe not the most outgoing guy, but he's certainly proving his worth in the cage, and I think his stock has never been higher.
I just want to say before Akhilesh, we ask Akhilesh, I think the whole underplaying himself thing works to his advantage, and the underdog thing, because he has no pressure coming into a fight. There is no microscope on him so much. Of course, he's the opponent all the time. So even in this, all eyes were on Jacare. Of course, people expecting him to win, but he kind of just slips in there, and even though he's had this great win streak so far, but like you said, he's an underdog, and he's there, but people are not paying as much attention to him and his fighting style as they should be, and even his interview after the fight, you saw he seemed like such a down-to-earth guy when he said, whether I win or lose, for me, it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to go back, and I'm just going to go back training and for the next guy. So, it's really attractive, that kind of, humility in today's day and age. And I think he will, with this win over Jacare, have a lot of fans who will appreciate him for that understated and humble style of his. Akhilesh?
Right. I think biggest reason why someone like Robert Whittaker was the underdog is because, and we talked about this, his previous 3 wins were against Rafael Nadal, Uriah Hall, and Derek Brunson. While Derek Brunson was the most credible threat that Whittaker faced, just because of his pressure, just because of the volume, just because of the knockout power that he possesses. But I think Whittaker is the kind of fighter that grows in confidence. Is a confidence fighter. As he goes deep into the fight, the more confidence that he gets, the better he performs. We saw that in the first round where Jacare Souza, one of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners in the game today, he almost got Whittaker's back, but Whittaker was able to shake him off. And I think that was the turning point for Whittaker, because until then, Whittaker tried to keep the distance. He tried to throw volume from certain range, not letting Jacare come in. But once Jacare closed the distance, he got into a clinch and then tried to take Whittaker to the ground. He took Whittaker to the ground, but Whittaker was able to shake him off. I think that gave him the confidence to kind of take it forward in the fight. Now Whittaker, as long as he maintains the distance, as long as he finds his timing, and as James even said, he has some really, really good boxing. People kind of underestimate Whittaker's boxing. So as long as he kept the distance, as long as he kept the range, he found his timing, it was Whittaker's fight. As the only reason where I say he's a confidence fighter is because he kind of looked tentative until Jacare took him to the ground. The moment he was able to escape, the moment he was able to shake Jacare off his back, and that is a very difficult thing to do. We have seen in the past how Jacare is once he takes his opponent's back. So once he was able to do that, he kind of grew in confidence. And the second round, he stung Jacare a lot of times. It was not just the head kick that led to the end. It was, I remember him connecting with an overhand right. Then he kind of took Jacare in a clinch and then connected with an uppercut. So that was the confidence that I was talking about. The first round he was not able to do that. But once he kind of built on that confidence, in the second round it was all Whittaker. Once he connected the head kick, you see Jacare wobbling. Then that he's trying to shake his cobwebs. It's not all there. But then, Whittaker closes the distance, strikes, takes Jacare down, finishes him off. A very, very good, victory for someone like Whittaker. Now the only thing is, Jacare, as you said, was on the cusp of a title shot. Now what happens to the division? Because now Jacare falls down, Whittaker goes up. What happens if for Bisping? Now you have Yoel Romero waiting in the wings. Now you have someone like Robert Whittaker waiting in the wings. So this is a very interesting situation that Whittaker finds himself in. If I was Michael Bisping, I would rather go toe-to-toe with Whittaker than go toe-to-toe with Yoel Romero. So with this fight, you could essentially sense that Whittaker could be fighting for the title if GSP doesn't turn up.
You think so? You don't think he'd get a lot of flack for avoiding Romero?
Hey, if I was Bisping, right, I would try to find the best matchup for myself. The best matchup for myself was not Yoel Romero. It's Robert Whittaker. I would give myself a puncher's chance against Robert Whittaker, then go, against someone like Yoel Romero, who I know for a fact is lethal. A lot of people say if Bisping fights Yoel Romero, it's going to be his last fight. And I don't doubt that. We have seen Bisping leaving himself open so many times, and Romero is so good at finding those openings. I would give myself a puncher's chance against someone like Whittaker, then go with Yoel Romero.
Yeah. It's still a dangerous fight. I mean, Whittaker's shown in his last couple of fights that he has knockout power too. I agree. Bisping's it's not going to get any easier for him going forward because, like you said, you got Romero, you got Robert Whittaker, and let's also not forget if he ends up re-signing with the UFC, Gegard Mousasi as well as another option that I think is not a good matchup for Michael Bisping. So after GSP, it's only going to get harder for Michael Bisping going forward.
But like we were talking about, I think. The best quality I saw in Robert today was patience. He even when he had Jacare staggered, he didn't rush in. He was after, like Akhilesh mentioned, his confidence got boosted when he got out of Jacare's clutches, so to speak, and got back up on his feet. You could see him cool, calm, collected. Thinking on his feet all the time and not, just rushing in, but playing to his game plan all the time. And I think it's that patience, that he showed that even when he was staggered, but, he didn't just rush in except when he got him to the ground. I think it was amazing,
And I think we also need to kind of talk about the stoppage because a lot of people said maybe it's an early stoppage. Then Yamazaki came out.
I didn't think so.
I didn't either. I thought it was a good stoppage.
Yeah. The only reason why I think this discussion even came up was because it was stopped when Jacare was getting back up. Right? He wasn't down. He was getting back up. Then Yamazaki came in. Now, yes, it was a good stoppage, but I can kind of understand where the other people are coming from. I can understand where Jacare was coming from because, this was similar to the Brunson-Uriah Hall fight. Hall was getting back to his feet when the fight was stopped. Hall said, yeah, I was getting back on my feet. Why did you stop the fight? But then, was it clear enough in his head to continue the fight is the question. Yeah. So it can go both ways. I can see the point where people said it's an early stoppage. I can even see why it was a good stoppage.
I think this was a little, well, not a little, a much more clearer than the Brunson Hall fight because I think Jacare was clearly in a much worse position. And I'm not sure whether he was getting up or whether he stopped the fight, the ref stopped the fight, and then he started to get up. So I think that
he was on his feet by the time ref stepped in. He was on his feet. So he was getting up. Yeah, he was. So he turned his back, he was getting up, and that's when Yamazaki came in. So, hey, we have seen fights in the past. We've seen with Sheikh Congo, for example. The fight was nearly stopped, but then the referee did not step in, and he ended up eventually winning the fight. So it's a dicey situation. As I said, I can kind of understand both the situations. I can understand both the arguments, where someone can say it's an early stoppage, where someone else can say, you know what, it was clearly staggered, it was a good stoppage. So.
One thing I will add, though, we got to count the amount of blows that Jacare took before Yamasaki stepped in. I agree, he potentially was getting up, but you can't take that many shots to the head. I'd have to go look at the replay again, but from what I remember, he took a lot of blows before Yamasaki stepped in, and they were landing, so I can see the stoppage from that perspective.
Yeah, and I think this conversation we've had quite a few times on the show about early, late, correct stoppages, and I don't think this is ever going to... And he stopped it when he did, and I think it was pretty fair because Robert was pretty much in control, and like James mentioned, he had taken a lot of damage before that point. And yes, people have gotten out of worse situations, but it's the ref calls to make, and he's in a better situation. And I wouldn't call it an early. I think it was touch and go. It's very hard to. It's one of those decisions where it's very hard to discern whether it's early or not. Anyway, moving on, of course, to Demetrius Johnson versus Wilson Reyes. It's hard sometimes to describe DJ. Mighty Mouse. It's very hard to describe him sometimes because he is just so good. And is he? It's of course, since yesterday there's all this talk about being the GOAT, and definitely one of them. And his next fight could cement his legacy. And of course, like Dana White said, he can just keep going on and see how far he takes that record. But it's so amazing, his movement. Will we see something more perfect than the way he fights? Because you could see Wilson. Sometimes I felt Wilson was just throwing combinations in the air for the heck of it, because they weren't going anywhere. And full respect to him. Yeah. But I mean, because Demetrius moves around so quickly, it's like now he's here, now he's not. It's like, and Wilson, his stand-up game, I don't think was on par for somebody like Demetrius. Of course, Wilson was always looking to take it to the ground, but like we saw how it ended, he literally turned the tables on Wilson, and an amazing performance, a true art. I think he really takes this sport to a true art form.
Yeah. I completely agree. Again, you guys mentioned the record. He tied the record with Anderson Silva for most title defenses. Also handed Wilson Reis the first submission loss of his career. 29 career fights. Wilson Reis never been submitted up until this past weekend. So, again, just another great performance from Demetrius Johnson. A lot of the narrative this weekend has been sort of, have people really appreciated Demetrius Johnson in the cage? And I think that's just one of those things where it either happens or it doesn't. And you can't really blame Johnson for this, because that's just sort of the type of guy he is. He's certainly winning people over in the cage with his performances like this. But again, are people buying into the flyweights? If they had a Conor McGregor in the flyweight division, would people really be as captivated? It's tough to say. We don't really know at this point, but you can't ignore the talent of Demetrius Johnson. I saw people questioning his legacy, saying that he fought easier guys. I disagree with that completely. We're talking, guys like John Dodson, like Joseph Benavidez. I mean, he was fighting tough guys in that division. I agree now, maybe some of the contenders aren't as top-notch as maybe they used to be, but that's a result of the champion cleaning out the division. I mean, he beat Dodson twice. He beat Benavidez twice. What more does this guy have to do at this point? And again, it just shows how dominant DJ is, and the fact that he's finishing opponents speaks volumes to where he has cemented his legacy as the greatest of all time.
Right. So, before the fight, we talked about how Wilson could be the vital, competitor. Probably the worst matchup for Demetrius Johnson, just because of what we saw Tim Elliott doing to Demetrius Johnson in the first round of their previous fight. So, we thought if there are any holes in DJ's game, it has to be the grappling. That's what we thought. But he completely turned the tables, And this is what I think DJ is far, far above the rest of the division is. He kind of goes back to the drawing board. He works on the things that he's not good at. Is he good in striking? Absolutely. Was he good in grappling during, we saw during the Tim Elliott fight again that maybe not. Maybe he's not at that level. But then, he changed the entire scenario going into this fight. So that was the most impressive outing, I think, by DJ, just because of the fact that, and Wilson Reis, let's give him all due respect. He's a world champion, one of the best wrestlers, grapplers in the division. So, and when we thought, Henry Cejudo, when Cejudo fought DJ, we thought he might be the guy to finally dethrone DJ just because of his expertise in wrestling. That did not happen. Liver kick ended. Against Wilson Reis, DJ worked on Wilson in the area that Wilson was supposed to be good at. So it was an emphatic performance by DJ. It was an exclamation point on his title defense, just to tie with Anderson Silva's title record. He did something that was never done before by stopping Wilson by submission. And we also kind of came to know after the fight that this was the lowest rated UFC on Fox event till now. So where do fans see DJ?
That's not going to help DJ get his $1 million. Yeah. Right, unfortunately, so though I feel he deserves
how
it.
How do the fans look at MMA fighters? Do they want the entertainment aspect more than the art itself? We don't know. We don't know because this is uncharted territory. For the past 20 years, the fans were more hardcore. They were very less casual fans, but more fight fans who wanted to see the art, who wanted to see fighters fight inside the cage. But now with Ronda Rousey, with Conor McGregor, with all these guys bringing in the entertainment aspect, you have a lot more casual fans coming in, which is good for the sport, but at the same time, it's uncharted territory. So, with all due respect, I think DJ, he's not the kind of fighter that trash talks, that kind of, evolves in his entertainment game. But I think it's very important for a fighter now, more than ever. Being that entertainer is very important. But again, talking about this fight itself, phenomenal performance by DJ. Where does he go from here? He's eventually cleaned out the entire division. I think, he's probably going to stay in the flyweight division, fight a couple more times just to, break the record, make the record his own, then probably go up to 130. I don't think he's going to go up to 135, but if Cody Garbrandt can come down to 125 or 130 for a catch weight, that's an interesting fight.
No, I just want to say one thing, that yesterday it did seem like he was trying to be out there but not in a bad way. It wasn't forced. He was still being himself, when he spoke about the $1 million and, he spoke about getting paid and what to do. It was all in a very cool, charming kind of way, very, very likable still. Even in the interview afterwards there was talk about a fight again, a rematch between Dominic Cruz and Demetrius again, so that would be interesting, of course, as well, and both seemed up to it, as long as they made money, like they were saying. So it does seem like he is trying to say things, but in his own way now, without trying to copy anybody else, which is the right way to go. But he does believe he needs to speak and be heard if he wants those big paydays, and I think he was trying to do that yesterday, and it is going to be, of course, a tough call or a tough fight for him, because, like you said, it's your talent versus ratings. Yeah. So it's going to be tough, but everybody does feel, of course, that he deserves it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I was going to say it's a tough sell in general. I think you look outside of Conor McGregor, the UFC champions in general are having a tough time, selling themselves. I mean, are people really clamoring to see Stipe Miocic? Stipe is a great guy. We love him on social media. He's, a good interview, things like that. But he's just not, captivating the audience like a McGregor is. It's really tough to get that casual audience. And I think that MMA, for that exact reason, it will never be mainstream. I think it's a hardcore base. And I think the fans that want to pay and see these fighters will pay and see these fighters. But it's not going to get these record-breaking numbers just because it's so difficult to market champions. All the champions are having trouble. Amanda Nunes, Tyrone Woodley. I mean, we see it again and again. These fighters want these big paydays, but it's tough to market yourself to that audience that goes beyond the hardcore fans. And I agree. I think we'll see DJ probably stay at 125 for the next fight, maybe the fight after that. But I am intrigued to see him, maybe move up or have a catchweight fight, because he has cleaned up the division. It is getting to that point now where it's like, okay, I mean, it's DJ versus opponent at this point. Ray Borg, Justin Scoggins, those are two kind of interesting matchups. But after that, I'd like to see DJ challenge himself in a different weight class, and he's already proved his legacy at 125 at this point. So let him break the record, and then let him do what he wants after this. If he wants to get money fights, go for it. I'd like to see him be challenged, because right now nobody is challenging him.
But
I agree. Sorry.
Yeah, but who would money fight Demetrius Johnson? Because Dominic Cruz versus DJ is not intriguing. Maybe Cody Garbrandt, a champion versus champion, always has that big intrigue. We've seen that with Eddie Alvarez and Conor McGregor, for example. Yeah. But would Cody Garbrandt be able to take on DJ at this point? I don't think so. I think we're at least 3 or 4 fights away from that happening.
Yeah, and the other issue too is that the bantamweight division is pretty stacked as it is. I mean, you've got you've got Cody Garbrandt, you've got TJ Dillashaw, you've got Dominic Cruz, and then you've got guys like Jimmy Rivera, Marlon Moraes just got signed. I mean, it's really bad timing for DJ wanting this fight because there are a lot of options at bantamweight as far as fights, and I know what you mean, because I mean, are people really clamoring to see DJ and Dominic Cruz the rematch? Hardcore fans probably, but is that really going to do a lot of buys? Probably not. I agree with you there.
But I think a DJ versus Cody Garbrandt would be something interesting. Like you said, you know, a champion versus a champion. That is something people would, you know, possibly pay to see. Also because Cody brings his own edginess.
Yeah.
You know, he's, of course, you know, he's an edgy guy. I think, you know, I loved his fight against Dominic Cruz. You know, he was, you know, it's the kind of fight that people love to see in terms of, you know, all the his antics inside, you know, the octagon as well. So he is, I feel, a guy, and, you know, even on TUF, which is coming up, you know, we've seen him, of course, grabbing TJ Dillashaw's throat and everything. So those are things, unfortunately, which makes the casual fans, so to speak, with all due respect, want to see, you know, and it is those fans which up the numbers then. And they do want to see that, you know, they want to see that fight. They want to see these, you know, two guys not liking each other and settling it in the ring, you know. Like, that was the whole thing between Conor and Nate. People genuinely felt these guys didn't like each other, and, you know, they want to see it settled in the ring, and the same way I think Cody brings that edginess. But the problem is, what do you say to a guy like Demetrius Johnson? You know, he's such a nice guy. What do you say to him? You know, and he's such a brilliant fighter. What could you say to him? He's not said anything to anybody. He's always been humble. There's nothing I feel you could really nitpick. You'd have to really find something. And would people believe in that then? You know, that is this a genuine rivalry, or is it just being made up for the fight? I think people really get intrigued when they feel it's a genuine rivalry. And would, you know, there be able to be a genuine rivalry between Demetrius and somebody else is something I think that would be a problem as well.
I think John Dodson would disagree with you, because John Dodson legitimately hates Demetrius Johnson.
Yeah, but then that's why there were those rematches, and that's why, you know, I wanted to see it as well. I remember the first time they fought second, you know, they fought 3 times now or 2 times?
2 times.
2 times, yeah. So, you know, even the first one was, I think, John was one of those guys who you know, was able to match Demetrius to a certain extent. You know, he wasn't able to beat him, but he was able to hold his own, you know. So, you know,
right,
because of that,
there was some interest. I think the other thing that I find interesting with Cody Garbrandt, DJ, like Cody Garbrandt, just because Cody has exceptional movement, while at the same time possesses legitimate one-punch knockout power. At 125, there has been no fighter with that scary power that DJ has faced, or even at 135. At 135, who's the hardest puncher? It's Cody Garbrandt, because of his amateur boxing, you know, experience. Just because, and we've seen against Dominic Cruz how Cody Garbrandt can cut those angles that Cruz has perfected. You know, Cody Garbrandt was able to kind of replicate what Dominic Cruz does and did it much better. So something like that, I would be legitimately interested to see how DJ would fare against someone like Cody Garbrandt, just because of those 2 things.
And I do feel, like I said, it's hard, of course, to create a rivalry with DJ, but I think Cody would be the guy to do that. I think he can say stuff and be, you know, possibly demeaning in a way to create a rivalry, so to speak. James, any?
Sort of established himself in the last year or whatever to you know create a good rivalry there. So I think like Gar only ticket seller. You know, Cruz has good trash talk as well, but I think Garbrandt brings that extra level just because he, you know, he has the knockout power. He's a, you know, marketable guy, and I think that that's sort of the matchup. If you are looking at, you know, maybe a money fight for DJ, that would be the matchup. They got to hope that TJ Dillashaw doesn't win, because that would be a disaster. You know, as far as trying to market that with Demetrius Johnson.
Yeah. Though, of course, that's another whole nother story, Cody versus TJ. Personally, my money would be on Cody, but like I said, that's a different episode altogether. Having said that, Akhilesh, James, any closing words? Anything?
I'll just quickly say that this was a really good card. It's nice to see the UFC put these Fox cards together and they actually deliver. I thought every fight on this card, for the most part, was pretty entertaining. And, you know, I think for Kansas City, a very big, you know, MMA, fan base. I think it was a win all around for the UFC. So I hope the UFC goes back to Kansas City, because they do. If you look on the regional scene, they have a really, you know, strong, vibrant scene there. And it's great to see a card like this deliver. So I think overall for the weekend, it was a really big win for the UFC and for Kansas City.
And I think Dana White seemed pretty happy at the post-fight press conference, especially after everything that happened at 210. So, you know, it was nice, I think, to have an event without any controversy, so to speak.
And UFC also broke record for an event in
arena.
Yeah.
So it was a great night for UFC, and as James said, you know, it was a very solid card after what we have seen the previous couple of underwhelming pay-per-views. I think, and as he said, Kansas also has this vibrant MMA scene. You've seen Invicta FC going, you know, and all out in Kansas City and putting on fights there. So yeah, I hope UFC comes back to Kansas. The fans were amazing, about 12,000 of them vocal throughout the night, from the prelims, from the Fight Pass prelims, all the way to the main event. The fans are phenomenal, solid card, and I hope UFC goes back to Kansas pretty soon again.
Great. Having said that, that's all from us today. We'd like to thank James Lynch for joining us. James, it was a pleasure, and hope to have you on the show.
Absolutely,
again.
yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me here. Your listeners can follow me on Twitter @LynchOnSports. They can check out my work at MMAOddsbreaker.com, FlowCombat.com, and Sportsnet.ca. And I'm going to have a bunch of interviews out this week for the UFC Nashville card, as well as some interviews for the upcoming LFA card, which takes place on Friday night. And again, thanks again for having me, guys.
There you had it. That's James Lynch. Do follow him in all of his work. He has some great interviews out, and follow him on Twitter, and we would love to have him back with us soon again. Thanks once again. Thank you, and goodbye. We're going to say good evening or good night, and you have the day in front of you, of course. So have a good day.
Gurdharshan Mangat! Give it up for Abdul Cutman Muneer!
So, welcome to the show, everybody. We've got Gary Saint Lion Mangat and Abdul Cutman Muneer with us. Hi. There's been a lot of back and forth. Have you guys actually met face to face ever before?
No, man, we never met.
Okay, well, Abdul, Gary, Abdul.
Hi.
So,
How you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you.
So, you know, of course, before we start, your friend Demetrius won again today. Just brilliant display. So, you want to say something about that before we start?
That's how we are, man. We train to the fullest ability. What you saw right there is what takes place in the gym every single day. It is just pure clinical technique, and exactly, it's inspiring how he can do exactly what we do in the gym and bring it right to the cage. There's not a lot of people that can do that, especially in the chaos of an event like that. And what he did today, he made history, man. Our whole team makes history, and that's how we do it.
Awesome. Now, getting down to the fight between you and Abdul on April 23rd in Mumbai, a lot of stuff has been said. You called out Abdul. Now, I am here just as a moderator. I'm not a judge or anything, you know. So, luckily, you guys are not face-to-face, so we don't need security or anything. So, what we plan to do is give you a minute each. You know, since you called him out and, this whole thing started, You want to start by saying why you called him out and what are your plans on this fight? Anything you want to say, and then we'll get Abdul to reply.
I actually didn't call him out. The thing is, we were trying to meet at a catchweight. He won Indian Fighter of the Year. And then from there, he didn't want to meet at a catchweight. So this is my debut at featherweight. I'm coming up to a weight class I've never fought in. And this is just to make history of who's the best Indian fighter in the world, since he's been voted since that before. I know I'm the best guy out there, and that's really all there is to it. And that's all I'm coming to India to prove. That's it. He thought I wasn't going to show up. My bags are packed. I'm ready to go. And I'm just coming over there to make history. I'll put in all the work. I'm coming to raise the flag, the India-Canada flag that I represent. I represent two flags, and the reason behind that I represent two flags is because my roots are Indian. My history is Indian. My parents have raised me with Indian values. I've been given great opportunities in Canada to become what I want to become. But my strength comes from my Indian roots, from the Sikh roots that I live by, from the Punjabi roots that I'm raised by. And that's the strength I get. I get it from the revolutionaries that I've been raised to, by the stories of them, my ancestors, and that's what it comes down to. Him saying that I'm a disloyal Indian or saying that I'm a fake Indian, I think it's about whose spirit is fueled by what. And my spirit is fueled by my Indian roots, and he'll see that. He'll see that next.
Abdul, do you want to reply?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, actually, are you Indian or Canadian? I mean, citizen?
I'm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
I'm.
Are you Indian?
Canadian.
You are a Canadian citizen. Then
Yeah.
how you can? There's a best Indian fighter. That is possible. Many Indian fighters are here. There's a Farad, Bharat Kandare, Chaitanya, like that. Many fighters are your own weight as a bantamweight. As they are citizens in India, they are already working there. We all are actually. We all are working together for growing Indians level. That's why. See how you can become Indian fighter. You're the Canadian citizen. You're not an Indian citizen. You're telling, okay, that's good. Your parents, they all are the Punjabi roots or whatever. That doesn't matter. But you're not an Indian right now. Okay, we are welcoming you. You can take our citizenship. That's good. If you're taking, then you can fight for that best Indian fighter. But now I am fighting with a Canadian, and I want to become world best fighter. That's I want. Not only India's best. That's the my followers and fans, they selected me as an Indian best fighter. That's not me. So why are you jealous?
Okay.
How you can that?
Well, trust me, I'm not jealous at all. I'm just saying, what I'm saying is I'm not jealous at all. Trust me, there's very things that I'm jealous about here. What it is for me is a misconception that you've given the people in India that you are the best pound for pound Indian fighter in the world. And it says that directly on your fan page. But that's not me making it up. That says that the best featherweight pound for pound Indian fighter. Is that not what it says on your fan page? That's what it says. That's what I think you've somehow pulled it off, that by staying local, by staying in India, you've created yourself as an image. I've been fighting international. I've been carrying that flag. Trust me, it's a lot harder to carry the Indian flag outside the country than it is to be carrying it locally around people and getting them patriotic about it. To be able to come to Canada and hold that flag high and to represent it, that takes true guts. That takes true warrior. Trust me, I've gone up with against around the world. You are just prancing around the neighborhood. You're just showing it to people that, of course, that will acknowledge it. Come to a country, come to a different place where they've never seen it. Go to the U.S. and wave the Indian flag and then represent it. I've done it. And I've done that patriotically from both sides. I'm raised by my Indian roots. My parents are first immigrants. They're from India. They're first generation immigrants. And that's what I've been raised on. I've been raised in my household. I've been raised on my ancestors. I've been raised by the soil of India. I've been raised by what the history is there. That's what fuels me to do mixed martial arts. It's not my Canadian roots. My Canadian roots is what I'm grateful for. My dad put his money together and got here to give us an opportunity. But he never let us forget where we're from. So I don't care where you live. It's about what you represent, what you truly believe in. This is what I believe in. This is what the whole world knows I believe in. And now I'm coming to show you that's what I believe in. So you can keep talking about, you can keep naming all these fighters, and I'll go through all of them if I have to show to show you guys in India that who the best is. Don't be afraid of it. You're basically just kind of naming a location right now, and trust me, I'm not jealous of you. Trust me, I'm very far from that.
One thing I just want to add is once the ring closes, and I've said this before, I think personally to people, is that people are not going to carry their passports inside the ring.
Very true.
So
exactly.
Once it's inside the ring, it's just Gary and Abdul, and what it represents again is going to be at the end of that.
All that
first of all, no. So wait. I want to ask some more things. Actually, there is no best Indian fighters. You are not an Indian. That's why this is already closed. That is, you are not a best Indian fighter, or you can't.
He's just.
One is already clear.
Okay, we're just going to reconnect with Gary. नहीं, बंद मत करो. Hey Gary, sorry it.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry it hung. So, can you see us? We can't see you.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can't see you. Your video isn't on, I think. Hello? Yeah, there you are.
Hello?
Yeah, we can see you now and hear you.
Yeah.
So Abdul was just saying something else. He wanted to
Hold
add
on.
something.
I'm just trying to get sound on here. Sorry.
Yeah, there is one is clear.
Can you hear him now?
Just give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Sorry.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's try that.
Okay, can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Okay, Abdul was saying something.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Gary.
Yeah, was saying something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is one is clear right now. You already told this you are not an Indian. Then there is no fight for India's best fighter. If you want to fight with me, you should take Indian citizenship. Yeah, welcome. Then we can do that. That's okay. You already did. That is already totally wrong actually. That's a fan garage. They made it your name in that. That is total wrong. You're already in Canadian citizenship. Then your name they put it in, that is wrong. You already mentioned that. Thank you for that. Then other things.
Okay, well,
I'm respecting your
fine.
fathers. Whatever you learn from them, that's good. But you're respecting Indian. That's good. I'll also respect that. The one other things, you did anything for India? What
I've done for India,
Yeah.
I've done nothing but represent India around the world. I think I've brought Indian MMA to the worldwide stage. You've done nothing but keep it local. Like, if you want to talk about what I've done for India, I brought it to an international stage. That's what I did for Indian MMA. That's what I did for the sport. So that's what I've done for India.
See, why the locals Indians are loving me or they are supporting me, you know? You don't know about
Your
that.
what, sorry?
See, why the Indian locals are supporting me, you know? We are doing...
It's because you stay...
No, not only that. We are struggling a lot and we are doing only for India, our country. This is not about this Canada or any other things. We are doing MMA or anything. This is all about our country proud. We want to make our country proud. We don't want... I'm not ready to hold any other flags. 2 flags, 3 flags. It's not possible for me. This is not only a fan base, something like that. It's not for me like that. I want to prove some things. India, now, why you are concentrating India? Now Indian fighters are better. They are proving a lot of things. That's why. See, now India is the best market for you. This fitness industry, now a lot of people are coming, they are investing. This is good.
I've been representing India since the first year I started MMA. I've been representing India since the first day. I've been representing India, Canada from the very first day I started this. The reason I started this is because there was nobody of Indian descent who was representing in MMA. Yet we come from a warrior root, and yet I found nobody. I never heard of you. I never heard of anybody else that was doing it. And from there, I'm like, why is there not Indians on the world stage? That's why. I didn't take it because it was some market. I didn't take it because of that. I didn't even know about any of you guys. I didn't know if there was anybody out there. I did it because I believed in it. I believed in what I could represent to the world. I did it to inspire Indians around the world. To inspire them that, listen, my background is I'm a simple accountant. I'm an accountant that became an MMA fighter. I moved up here on scholarships to go to school, to work a 9-to-5 job. I'm an average person who found his way, who found his dream. And I found that passion in my Indian roots, in my ancestry, in my religion. That's where I found the strength to keep doing this. That's where I find strength to come and beat you next week. I find the strength in my Indian roots.
Actually,
I'm grateful to be in Canada.
Yeah,
so you
no. I want to ask one more thing, Satya. What do you know about India? That's you know anything about India?
What do I do? What? I'm not going for some exam.
You should tell me that. So you're always telling about India. What is India?
Listen. I'm not going to go do some geography
about India. Then you are just sitting and doing and learning and whatever you're doing. I'm telling you, you're totally selfish.
Okay, so what do I need to know about India in order to represent India? I need to take a geography test or what? What do I need? Listen, when that cage door closes, you're going to see this guy has a spirit like you've never felt before, and you're going to wonder where it's coming from. And then you're going to realize this guy truly believes in what he's fighting for. This guy truly believes in what he's fighting for, because when that cage door closes, that truth always speaks. You can always see who's bullshitting. You can always see who believes in what they believe. And every guy that's ever stepped in that cage has realized this guy's fighting for something strong. I'm fighting for the Indian people. I'm fighting to represent them. I'm fighting to inspire them worldwide. There's Indians in the UK. There's Indians in Australia. There's Indians in Melbourne. There's Indians in Canada. Are you going to say none of them are real Indians because they live abroad? Are you going to say they're not real? We all have our roots. We all represent it. I stuck true to it. You know how hard it is to come to another country and still stay true to your values? Come to another country and be Indian. Come there. You'll see. You'll see how the Western countries will challenge you. It's easy to be Indian in India. Come to a different country.
Till you're telling this you're an Indian. You have a Canadian citizenship, then you're telling you're an Indian. How it's possible? Mr. Mangat, you just tell me that.
It's very possible.
No.
My
you should
blood,
tell me.
my
No,
DNA,
you are not an NRI. You're not NRI. You're a Canadian citizen. Then how you can tell that?
Okay, let's just move this onwards now. Let's just move this onwards now. There were also some. I don't want to use a strong word like allegations, but there were some. Let's say arrows pointed towards steroid use. You know, you want to say something about that?
Yeah, sure. I know what these guys do up there. This guy trains only with bodybuilders, but it's not going to matter. Trust me, the more you use, the better it is. Once you're in there, you are going to drown in your own body. You're going to realize your own muscle is choking you out. You're going to realize that I am moving way too fast for you, and you will gas in there. You will see. You'll be in there. You're laughing now. Watch when you're suffocating for air. None of your team is going to be able to help you. They're going to be like, we don't know what to tell you, man. This guy seems like he came prepared. This guy is going to wreck you. You're not ready for this.
No.
You can do whatever push-ups you want. You can bench all you want. You can flex all you want. You can touch up all the pictures you want. It's not going to matter when you're in there.
One more thing. I should reply. How you know I took steroids?
Dude, everybody.
Photos? No. In photos? In videos? No. You should tell me. You should. How you know I took steroids?
Okay, fine. We'll see you're natural.
No.
Next week.
I need your proper answer. This is insulting. You're insulting Indians. So many Indians are like, see, I proved myself. See, I proved myself. Anybody can do this. See, I'm not like you. See, I can ready to give you. See, I'm challenging you. I'm challenging you, Mr. Gary. I'm challenging you. This is my challenge. I'm ready to give you my shit, my urine, my blood, whatever you want. You can taste. Or you can test. What is this? But you should prove that. That if you are proving, I'm ready to stop everything in my MMA career. Last 20 years. Last 20 years I'm in this field. See, you are insulting. See, you should. Otherwise, I'll put a case against you. No, otherwise, I'll put a case against you. This is the reality. See, you should prove that. See, Mr. Gary. See, you should prove. See, I'm ready to give you. You should prove that. You can? Tell me that.
So what do I need to prove? I'm not going to do a drug test on you. I can just...
No, I'm ready to do that. I'm ready to give you everything. See, you should... See, that is an insult. See, that's you're fearing. That's why you're talking like that. See, come inside the cage. We can show that. That is it. See, I'm ready to do. See, you have a lot of facility. You're telling, okay, you're doing with the Demis Jones, everybody. That doesn't matter. I'm training in India, here only in Mumbai and Bangalore and Kerala and so whatever, wherever. That is the thing. See, I'm mentally too strong. My techniques, whatever. I'm not working every day, boxing one syringe and BJJ one syringe. No, my coach is not giving like that. If you're believing like that, that's okay. Prove me.
So what's that got to do with anything? I don't get it.
See, you mentioned in Facebook also, it's steroids. I won't, see, you should prove that. I'm ready to give you everything. It's a blood or anything, but you should prove that. See, this is not a silly matter. This is not a silly matter for me and Indians.
Okay.
You guys are all doing it.
Okay.
You're doing it.
So moving on again.
No.
Moving on again. Both of you have had one fight each in Brave. I'm guessing, Gary, have you seen Abdul's first fight against Marcio Follin? Do you want to tell us what you thought, and we'll ask Abdul again what he thought about your fight?
Nothing. He's one-dimensional. He gets tired within 2 minutes. He got tired. He couldn't handle the intensity, so he tried to keep lowering the intensity with Marcio. He mentally gave up. That knee barely caught him in the head. He gave up. He wanted out of there. He couldn't take it. He couldn't take the pressure in there. And that was really it. He's one-dimensional. He'll throw one punch, then he'll throw another kick, and then he'll walk away for a bit. With me, you can't walk away. You watched one of my teammates' performances. We are in your face the entire time. We're in your face. You got to understand that there's going to be volume coming at you. There's going to be non-stop volume coming at you. And that's what it is.
I'm ready to take that, man. Yeah, come. Show me that. I'm ready to take that. I don't think you can take my kicks and punches.
Trust me, I can take your kicks and punches.
So, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, come and let's see.
Abdul, have you seen Gary's first fight in Brave against Troy Bantiang?
Yeah, but that guy is very poor, I think. He got a lucky, he's an innocent opponent. He's not that much strong. That's
I think that guy,
that's why he's running and you're controlling. I don't think you can control me like that.
Oh, I'll control you. Trust me. I'll control you like that. Trust me. That guy probably would have whooped your ass too. He wouldn't have mentally gave up. I'll give you that. I broke him down. I broke him just like I'm going to break you. And that's it.
I don't, that's your confidence, but I don't think so. It's possible inside the cage.
I can hear the fear in your laughter. Trust me. I can hear it.
You look at my eyes, man. Look at my eyes. Why you are looking at? Then, not here. Look at my eyes. Then you can tell.
Can you see your eyes?
The fearing? I can see. See, look at my eyes. You can see.
What about your
now? You can see.
Eyes can deceive. I can hear it in your voice.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, sorry. You wanted to say something else, Abdul?
No, the fear is you already proved that actually. You already proved this. What is the fear? You already write it in the Facebooks and all. That is the fear. I can see in your eyes.
Why can you meet me at a catchweight?
Yeah.
Why can you meet me at a catchweight? You needed every advantage for this fight. You needed a fight at your weight. You couldn't meet me at 140.
No, I can't. I don't want. See, I'm always fighting. See, I fought in before. I was doing boxing and all. I think that 2000 that time. See, I don't want. See, for you challenge 4 weight categories. You're not respecting Indian fighters. See, you only challenge. I didn't challenge you. I don't want. See, you
don't want this.
See, in India. In India, in your weight category, many Indian fighters are there.
And I'll get to them. I'll get to them too. Once I'm finished with you, I'll get to them.
Now, Gary, do you want to tell us a little about your training, where you've been training for this fight? I mean, of course, without realize you guys are both in front of each other.
Yeah, that's
obviously can only say so much.
Nothing. I've been just doing what I've always done. I stuck with the same formula. I trained with guys who are heavier, bigger, more skilled than them every single day. I train 2-3 times a day. I was making trips down to Seattle and train with Mighty Mouse. I had the 1FC champion, Bibiano Fernandez, who's basically my mentor. I was actually with him this morning. And just guys that the guy that's coming with me is from the UFC, is Jeremy Kennedy. He fights at the 145 weight class. He just fought in the UFC Brazil show. Those are the guys I've been surrounded by every single day. The thing is, it's one thing to be surrounded by guys and one thing to throw yourself in the fire with these guys. That's the thing. That's where people get the misconception that we don't go and shake hands and hang out with them. We are training hard. The only way you earn respect in mixed martial arts is by pushing each other, and we have to push each other in order for them to keep letting us train with them, right? So that's one of the things. I had to keep pushing my level just like they pushed mine, and that's how we prepared for this.
Abdul, you want to tell us something about your training?
Yeah, I'm totally different. What is no? He is training with all top world class fighters. He's telling I'm totally different. I'm training with all India's top fighters only. There is no UFC fighters. There is no other fighter. See, this is my confidence. This is my confidence. I'm very confident. He's telling already I'm on steroids. He should prove that all things. The thing is, I'm very confident this fight. I'm training with Chaitanya, Mama Farad, and Vicky sir, and Nick sir. I'm training here only in Mumbai.
To bring this to an almost close, I would say,
no,
we've got to get back to the party as well. What everybody thinks is that Abdul will want to keep it standing and Gary will want to take it to the ground.
I can take wherever. That's what they saw. That's what they thought last time too, and I almost head kicked the guy. I almost knocked him out. Right? They thought I was going to take. I don't know why people think I want to take it to the ground. Just because my record has so many rear naked chokes doesn't mean that I took them to the ground and got them. I break them standing, and then they give it to me on the bottom, and that's how it is. I mix it up. This is mixed martial arts. I take the openings where they are. Even though my record has rear naked chokes, if you watch the fight, it's me breaking them down on the stand-up that allowed me to get the choke on the bottom. I'm just mixed. That's all it is. I'll stand with them. I have no problem standing with them. I've seen a stand-up. I'm not impressed. I've seen all his fights. I've seen everything. I'm not impressed by anything. There's nothing that I feel like I have to worry about. I don't. So it can go wherever it needs to go.
Abdul, you want to say something about whether you want to keep it standing to the ground or anything? You want to?
No, I'm also ready to do that. Anything, any position. I know his ground is good, and it's okay for me. So I'm ready to take him any position, anything. I'm also ready for that. I'm already prepared.
Okay. Any last words, Gary? Whether in English, Hindi,
Nothing. At the end of the day, like what I want to leave it on is that I respect him as a fighter. I respect him as a warrior. I respect anybody that walks into the cage for a fight. Whatever it's going to determine next week, it's going to determine. I'm coming in there fully confident. I'm ready for it. After that, we can shake hands, but right now it's a full rivalry, right? This is to make history. We're about to put on the biggest MMA event in India for the world to watch. And you know what? We got two of the best fighters. Even though I had to move up 2 weight classes to make it happen, we're doing it. So that's all there is really to it.
Anyway, Gary, I'm welcoming you in India. You're my guest. I'll give you full treat, whatever you want. You're my guest. You can come. Don't worry about it. And then we can do
on that note,
awesome fight. I'm also ready for that.
On that note, I would like to say we are all waiting for this fight. Gurdharshan Gary Mangat versus Abdul Cutman Muneer. It's going to be an awesome fight. Mumbai, April 23rd. Brave-5. I personally am going to be ringside. So I really look forward to meeting you as well, Gary, when you're here down for the fight. So let's get it on and let's fight. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Us.